Hey, Aaron, you know, you used to play 40 minutes a night, but people said, well, they're playing zone.
Probably most people who probably said that probably never played.
Yeah.
Because zone is essentially man-to-man. You know what I mean? You got to move, you got to box out, you got all those things that require energy, effort.
Yeah, right. But these guys are pressing you for the whole game, 40 minutes. And Caleb, you know, you're like, okay, Caleb says he doesn't get tired, and so I'm going to give him 40 minutes. How do you, are you watching that still during the game? How do you I mean, I guess you're comfortable before it even starts. I know he can do that if I need it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how he's wired. Everybody's body is different. Everybody responds different. Some guys need goes right away. Some guys can sustain their effort. I thought he got a little tired down the stretch, but he's competitive. He wants to take on one of the best offensive players on the other end. We put him on ace ball, and so that's asking a lot for him to score for us on one end, but also try to take away their best offensive option, which was ace ball, who was the head of the snake for those guys, who creates opportunities for his teammates. And he wants those matchups. That's what I like. That's what competitors do.
Can you talk about Jaleel's performance today? He said earlier that he was kind of out of rhythm in the game against LaSalle, and now feeling more comfortable off the bench. Just about what he brought to the table today. Yeah,
he's settling in. I thought early on he was just trying to do too much, trying to prove too much. And we need him to just defend and rebound and anchor that defense, and that's going to keep him on the floor. And everything else will just naturally happen as it did today.
Coach, can you get more into that matchup with KD versus baseball one? And force fields for Caleb today. What has he done differently on defense recently as he's starting to put it all together?
He's taking the challenge more. He's starting to understand what winning DNA looks like from the standpoint of, and I just try to point out teams in different sports, whether it's pro basketball, whether it's football. Most of the better teams defend. They're able to get stops. And so it's something I talk to him about a lot, talk to the team about a lot. And so if we're going to have any chance of being a really good team, which I think we could be, we got to continue to get better defensively. And he's one of the guys that we rely on.
Coach, when you talk about Zach Hicks, I mean, his stat line wasn't the highest, but definitely had one of at least eyesight better games, putting the ball on the floor, driving, his passing ability, and rebounding. You just talk about his offensive.
He's a threat, and teams got to pay close attention. So, when you look at the stat line, he only had 7 shots, but he was also creating for others. He got himself in trouble early on with the fouls. Touch that part, but he got himself in trouble early on with the fouls, but he was able to stay focused and stay in tune with the game, and he makes the shots when we need him, he makes the plays when we need him, and I challenge him with those things to attack the basket, to get to the offensive glass, and being a better playmaker, because I want these guys to be well-rounded, versatile basketball players where, when he's on the board, we don't want teams to just say, well, he's just a jump shooter, just hang out there with him. So he's getting better at that. He's still young. He's got a long way to go, and he's taking the right steps in the right direction.
Aaron, you guys tied a season high of 17 assists as a team. What was it about, how the ball was moving, how everybody was moving off the ball, particularly, Nick catching it up top in the high post and facilitating from the middle of the floor?
The way these guys play, VCU, they try to force you to play at a frantic pace. He said if we take our time and we share the ball and we drive, anytime you touch the paint against those guys, that defense is going to collapse. Everybody's coming in and reaching, and if we kick it out, we'll get good shots. And I thought we did a good job of that. I wanted to insert Nick in there as another ball handler. We could put him in the middle and stretch our shooters back, Caleb and Zach. And it sort of took them out of being really aggressive against us, because we hit Nick in the middle one time in the first half, and we hit Caleb, and Caleb hit the 3. And it settled us, but it also made those guys slow down a little bit with that pressure.
And what was it like, we put Shane out there in the first half, he got some shots up. I think it's the first time this season that he looked comfortable taking shots. What was it like seeing that from him?
It was extended minutes. Before I put him in there, a minute, 2, it's hard to get in some sort of rhythm. and that's on me. And I've been trying to just find different times in the games where I can get him in and get him comfortable. So, you know, I like what I saw out there, you know, with him, and you know, he's going to continue to grow and continue to get better. And each game, I'm going to try to give him, you know, more and more. You know, just try to fit him into the rotations. So,
you know, VCU, they're a team that usually sometimes struggles to hit 40%. They hit about 50. I don't know, but all things considered, were you okay with the defense as the game went along, or no?
I'm never satisfied with the defense. I think a lot of it came late, and they were getting some layups, and they got some things early on. Too much for my liking. So again, it's something that we're going to continue to work on. But so, you know, you could get so wrapped up into analytics and you know, you can look at the numbers, but the most important number to me is the win.
You had 3 straight games where you finished the game better in the second half, and KB and Jaleel said, you know, time. And I know it's not just that simple, but is there part of you that's starting to think, okay, maybe with a little bit more time and these pieces fitting together, are you starting to see a little bit more of what you want?
A little better. We're starting to play a little bit more unselfish. We're sharing a little bit more. It takes time. We got some new guys that we're adding. And I think for a lot of our young guys that got an opportunity to play last year, they came in and wanted to try to prove more. When we don't really need more, you know, as Coach Chaney would say all the time, less is more. If we share the game on both ends, everybody's happy. Everybody get a chance to do, you know, what they can do best. And as a head coach, that's part of my job, is to put these guys in position to be successful. I thought early on in the year, guys were trying to do too much, and now that we have some games under our belt, I'm starting to get a better understanding of how to operate with this.
The less is more piece, is that much harder to do today?
Well, not trying to do more when you can just simplify it and do less.
Is that harder to do today as a coach than it was when you guys were absorbing the message?
Well, these guys skip steps. You know, when I say skip steps, it's not in a bad way, but they got one foot in the NBA and the other foot in college. And, you know, for me, it was just each day, each game. So these guys got all these big dreams and they skip the steps. And I always say to them, how about we just be the best college player that we can be right now?
Can you talk about you guys consistently on an energy level tonight, and how you guys were up by double digits and VCU would come back and you guys would punch back? You just talk about that. You know, they would come back, you guys would punch right back and extend the lead right back.
Scoring is important. I think anytime they made a run, we answered with baskets to kind of sustain it. And I think part of the problem that I have a lot of times is instead of us hanging our hat on the defensive end and getting upset when we have miscues or mistakes on the defensive end, we get upset when we miss a shot or we miss a play that we should have made or thought we could make. And working hard to try to reverse that mindset with these guys. So it's a work in progress when it comes to that. I think when we start becoming more accountable and upset with the defensive side when we make mistakes, that's when I know we're turning that corner and we're becoming a really good team.
It seems sort of unavoidable, right? Nick plays great, more minutes, and then Core, you know, probably less minutes. How do you sort of keep him focused, right? If he's in the 5 to 10 minute range or something like that, that his minutes that he gives, you know, that he's effective in that time, might be a short stint. Core.
Well, again, it's one of those things where everybody's got to be ready. You can't play everybody. That's sports. So, you know, when they call your name, you got to be ready to go. That's what great teammates do. So, I don't worry about that. Well, I do worry about it because I wish I could play all of them. But I go on field. So whatever I feel like is going to give us the best chance to win, or whoever I feel is the best 5 guys that I can put out there to give us an opportunity to win, that's what I'm going to go with. Thanks,